Hello, today we're going to talk about how managing deciduous woodlands also promotes the growth of herbaceous plants, particularly bluebells.
A bluebell wood in spring's a beautiful sight. It takes years to evolve, generally in woods that have been carefully managed for decades if not centuries.
English bluebells, you find all the flowers are just on one side of the stem, but with the Spanish bluebell you get them all the way around the stem.
Herbaceous species like bluebells can't survive in neglected woods where evergreen species like holly, rhododendron or laurel are rampant. When hazel rather than evergreens predominate, conditions are very different and herbaceous species thrive. Many, such as bluebells, wood anemones and celandines, are perfectly adapted to this environment with underground storage organs, bulbs, rhizomes or fleshy roots. These allow plants to grow early in the year when the days are short and little photosynthesis is possible.
They quickly flower, set seed, recharging their batteries as the days lengthen.
And then die down just as deciduous trees and shrubs come into leaf, cutting out much of the light reaching the ground.
Bluebells nevertheless multiply very slowly.
Compared with plants like dandelions, cleavers or Himalayan balsam, which have highly efficient methods of seed dispersal using wind, animals or explosive adaptations, bluebells are very inefficient. The right seeds simply drop out of the seed capsules, spreading the seed over a very small area.
These are seedlings that germinated this year. They look almost like grass. The leaves are cylindrical and at the ends there's a tiny little bulb. Most of those perish, but a few will survive to the next year, and in the second year you get something like this. But not until either the fifth or the sixth year do they actually start to produce a flower. So it's a long job.
Not surprisingly, therefore, bluebells are one of the ancient woodland indicator species. Many of these ancient woodlands have been replanted over the centuries, and they are referred to as semi-natural ancient woodlands. In these woods, the trees are often closer together, and where they were replanted with a view eventually of harvesting them for timber, they usually have long, straight trunks because the lower branches were removed when the trees were small. So how do you manage a wood to encourage bluebells?
We've done what they call raising the canopy. We've cut all the lower branches off, so now sunlight is getting there.
If there are a lot of evergreen shrubs, remove most of them. The spoil can be placed into dead hedges that provide useful cover for small animals, and in public woods they help keep people to the paths. The leaves and thin branches quickly rot down, leaving just the thicker stems. Large hazel bushes should be coppiced, an ancient practice used to regenerate aging trees and shrubs. This is usually done in the autumn or winter. Hazel is generally coppiced once every 6 to 15 years depending on growing conditions. The more light they get and the better the soil, the shorter the interval. If a lot of holly or rhododendron was removed, it may be necessary to plant more hazel. Quite apart from the benefit to bluebells, coppicing mature hazel produces a lot of valuable material. Thick stems can be used as posts and stakes when laying hedges, and long thin branches make perfect binders for this job. The small branches make wonderful pea sticks, and anything else can be made into charcoal. It may be necessary in the early years after coppicing to control some plants, particularly brambles. These grow rapidly because they get much more sunlight, but after a few years the coppiced hazel becomes large enough to cast its own shade that checks the rampant bramble growth. But there may be bare areas. If bluebell seed is harvested when it's ripe, it can be scattered in these areas. It will be a long time before any of this seed flowers.
but your grandchildren, they'll thank you for doing it.